Good afternoon, iRacers, race fans alike. Welcome to Apex Racing TV here for the Grand Prix Series round number 3. There we go, I can count at Silverstone. Looking at the weather and track conditions out there, looks like we should have a good race. Of course, dynamic weather reintroduced to this series, so could be exciting. We haven't seen that since Watkins because of the bug. But I'm joined with Cam Stark, newly appointed pro driver.
Yes, hello. Should be a good race, I hope. We've got a couple of pros actually in the field, so I'm hoping it's going to be a good race. The track conditions certainly do make it seem to make it favourable for that, considering it's mostly cloudy, so giving it a bit more track temperature, a bit less track temperature and more grip.
Cam, I wonder if you can just tell us roughly what the weather is. Unfortunately, when we do dynamic weather, it completely kills our overlay, so we've got no idea on the stream what it's doing at the minute.
Right, so obviously it's realistic. It's mostly cloudy, 21 degrees with the track at 27 degrees. The wind's at south at 17 kilometers an hour at the moment, but obviously that's going to go haywire probably during the race. And 43% relative humidity.
Yeah, so it is quite tricky. The wind I think is going to be tricky, but temperature actually is quite favourable, so that should be okay.
Yes, definitely. I mean, it'd be interesting to see what it's like from the start of the race, because quali and race obviously will have the same weather, but as you say, the wind's going to, it's going to be an interesting factor throughout the race, because different wind direction changes can really throw a spanner in the works of the drivers.
Huge little advert for UGX there. If you haven't seen them, just go ahead and jump on the URL on screen now. But yeah, for some reason it wasn't showing up properly, so we had to reintroduce it. So bam, in your face. There you go, nice bit of advertising for them. Just also give a shout out to Leo Bodner, Sim Steering, all those that help us support sort of Apex in what we do. Got about 30 seconds left of qualifying. Cam, you know all full well, actually it's quite tricky now to get up to speed in qualifying with this dynamic weather. I mean, 12 minutes, got to get loaded in to the session, try and figure out what's going on with the weather, where you need to adjust your lines and your braking points. I mean, is 12 minutes long enough?
I would say it was as good as you're going to get. I mean, you just have to adapt to what the weather's doing. The lines you won't exactly change drastically, but it's just going to be getting used to the weather and where you can find the grip and where the grip isn't. But it seems that Martin van Loosenhoorder's found exactly where the grip is and got pole position provisionally with a 118.574.
Yeah, so good time there from Martin. I mean, it's worth pointing out Martin is leading the sort of individual series that we created for this. Matt Backham, not here this week, was in second. Yourself in third. Francisco in fourth, and then we've got Marin Kolak there in 5th place as well, level with Gary Larson. So some drivers returning from race 1. Alex McFarlane back in, so we'll have to see how he goes.
Yeah, I mean, Alex is obviously, as we've said before, new to the car from season 2 and just improving his skills each week by getting in the car, doing the races. So for him, as we said before, the only way will be up and for him to get quicker. But starting in 4th position from what it looks like at the moment, he's on a better lap. He's not on a lap, so 4th would be the best place where he's going to start this race, but certainly an up-and-coming driver.
Yeah, Daniel Winsing just completing his lap. Is he going to improve?
Yes, he has, and he's knocked him down.
Yeah, 3rd place, so good last ditch effort there from Daniel Winsing. So he takes 3rd place, so pushes McFarlane down to the 3rd row as well.
Yeah, certainly a good qualifying by Daniel and Guillem. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce his name, but those two, I've never really heard of them, but definitely a fantastic qualifying by them both.
Two drivers just practicing starts out there. So let's just take a very quick look at the grid before the timer switches over. So yeah, Van Loosenhoorder takes it. 118.5, 7/10 of a second up on P2 there. Winsing, as we saw right in the last minute, puts himself into 3rd. Second, 3rd, 4th, 5th, pretty close. Stefan Altena there as well, very, very quick as well. We've seen him in the last round at Suzuka, there or thereabouts. That looks like they're going to have quite an interesting little battle, I have to say. Rest of the pack's kind of strung out a little bit. obviously no splits this week as well, so we kind of expect to see a few drivers obviously new to the car as well at the back. They'll have to be careful with the leaders coming through.
Yeah, I mean, most of the time you'd like to think the lap cars are going to be aware of the blue flags, but unfortunately it doesn't always seem to be the case, so you just got to hope for the best when the leaders come through and they're not actually too affected.
We know that's your little pet hate, isn't it, deep down?
Yeah, it is. I mean, a couple of races I've had at Watkins Glen when we done it, it was a bit of a pain, but it's the same for everyone, so...
If only we could show the chat messages on the stream as well, everybody would enjoy them, I'm sure. Right, we're just waiting for the last of the drivers to form up on the grid before we get underway here. Silverstone, not the easiest place to start, of course. We start all the way through the sort of Woodcote as well, so very, very easy to light up the rear wheels, get some wheel spin, and of course here we go, revs the building.
Green, green, green!
For whatever reason, I don't seem to have got all the skins. I'm going to refresh them very quickly at the start, just to be crazy. Guess who's who? Everyone's white. Looks like a good start from everybody, actually. No real issues at all.
Yeah, I was just going to say,
so great start.
From 8th place downwards, that was when they started to go too wide, but from 7th upwards they all filed out into single file. Martin Van Loosenhoorn didn't botch his start this week, so that is a good sign considering what happened to him at Watkins, you know. But yeah, him and Vedran have got an early lead on the rest of the pack with Daniel and Willem going side by side. I think they're both fellow Brazilians, but I will just double check. No, okay, one's Iberia, one Brazilian. I messed that up, but there you go. Willem's got a position into 3rd place.
Yeah, good move there. One of the few overtaking. Looks like there's a couple of overtakes going on as well through Vale at the moment as well. Probably the easiest place to get a move done, get a good move down into Stowe. Force the drivers a little bit tight to defend there, and you can usually get a run, but not the easiest places to overtake is Silverstone, and might be some variety and strategies going on out there today just because of that.
Yeah, I mean, WCS was recent. Obviously, what people opted for 1 or 2 stop strategies, so definitely one of those will be in use. Obviously, we don't know what people's fuel loads are going to be, so whether they're on a 1 or 2 stop, but I expect most of the field to be on the 2 stop because makes it easier for the car to drive towards the end of the stint with the tyres not being so burnt out.
Yeah, I think we've got someone jumping in the pits there. I don't know what the problem is there. That's Ben Gregory, I think. Yeah, Ben Gregory just into the pits, having some problems. And there's a 20. Wonder if he forgot to put some fuel in or something.
Yeah.
I can't see any damage on the car. I'm not got the best camera angles right now.
He didn't jump the start either.
It was just in there in a little splash. So I'm wondering if yeah, I've got no idea what that's about. Very odd. But no repairs or anything like that. 2.1 second stop. So yeah, strange one.
Yeah, it's odd because, as I say, he didn't jump the start over, so maybe he didn't have put in enough fuel or something. But so you won't know.
Front 3 are stringing out really, really quickly. Van Loosenhoorn now 1.5 seconds gap. Is live timing just 1 second as they cross the line. Vedran, we've seen him in previous races as well, very consistent driver, so, and then yeah, those top 3 really starting to string out. It just seems like Daniel perhaps being kept honest by Alex McFarlane, and then Stefan there as well, keeping pretty close, but that seems to be where the battle's going to be, in and around that area. Well, I think we saw that really from the starting times on the grid there.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, Martin had a 0.8 gap really in qualifying, so certainly expected for him to get away from the pack, I expect. So, and Vedran as well, but further back, I think it could really all be open, especially around 5th place with the drivers, which are led by Alex McFarlane from around that area on the track.
McFarlane is closing in on Wensing as well, so we know that Daniel put that time in right at the last minute of qualifying, so maybe that's like a one-off good lap or something like that, or perhaps McFarlane couldn't quite nail his qualifying. We were talking about how tricky it was, but certainly looks like McFarlane looks like he's got the upper hand at the moment.
Oh, just sorry, but Francisco Gutierrez has just spun as they've come around Vettel.
Take a quick look at that back on a replay.
just looked like he got a bit hot into the corner and the rear's gone round him, which has dropped him quite a few positions down the field.
Yeah, so we just joined the replay here, going down into Stowe corner. He's not under any pressure or anything like that, so it's going to be just a driver error. Does he get onto the grass? No, he doesn't. Hits the curb. Doesn't really hit the curb that heavy either. So, yeah, very strange, and sets him back, and he's off screen right now, but he's trying to recover. Actually, there was some sort of aftermath between one of the Ferrari cars a bit further back behind them as well, but yeah, odd for Francisco, but he'll recover, I'm sure. He's not a million miles off of it. Strategy could still pay out, but does break that pack up a little bit. Daniel Cruz closing in, I believe. If we just jump back live. Yeah, Cruz closing in on the back of Altina here as well.
Following right on the back of Daniel as well. Slightly messed up his entry into Vale. He could have an opportunity on the exit, but he's really closed in. He was 1,000 slower that last lap, so they are very, very equally paced at this stage in the race.
Yeah, just on screen at the moment, just see the gaps at the front. Actually, Van Nieuwenhof not pulling away from Vedran as quick as we would have thought. He's managed to stick with him, but Vedran is pulling away from Herdina there as well. Apologies for the pronunciation. Kick me later.
Gutierrez
added an end. Gutierrez again, so really struggling.
Yeah, just off. Exit Ferrari. I don't know, he's obviously pushing the car really hard to get up for positions he's lost, but really running on the ragged edge so far. I mean, he's down in 16th position, so lost about 6 or 7 positions just from one little spin he had.
Now, of course, we've got the wind is south, and you know, default wind normally to the north, and even if it is low speed, do we think this just could be a thing of the balance is completely shifted in the car, and all of a sudden it's really loose? I mean, coming into sort of coming out of Club and out of Abbey and into sort of Priory, those are all sort of like tailwind sections that you might be struggling with now with the south wind.
Yeah, it's certainly a possibility. I mean, I haven't driven here this week on south wind at all, so it's hard to say, but it's definitely not out of the question of why he's having these little off tracks that we haven't really seen before.
Morty closing in on the back of Daniel Cruz. Cruz was putting a bit of pressure on Stefan earlier on, but that battle's just sort of died down a little bit. But yeah, we've seen Morty kicking around the Grand Prix Series for a little while now. Driver seems to be improving quite nicely.
Yeah, Morty's really upped his pace recently. He's got some very good results, as well as a couple of DNFs here and there, but it's definitely part of the learning process in the car. To get quicker, you're always going to have a couple of poor races where you DNF, but his results have been really, really solid for the races he's finished in the SOF, so that he's managed to win as well, or at least get decent results. So Morty's definitely one who's definitely been improving quite a lot in the recent months, or weeks even.
Like McFarlane might be having a few connection issues out there as well, just blinking away at the moment. Hopefully that will settle itself down for the people that he's chasing.
To be fair, the whole field is quite spread out. The only people on track that are fairly close to each other would be McFarlane and I think Wensing. It is up there and battling for fourth, but it's the nature of Silverstone. The pack gets spread out. The Dirty is a bit too overpowered here, so not much anyone can do really once that happens.
Yeah, exactly what I was going to say. Just very much the nature of Silverstone. Just so difficult to stay within that sort of half a second barrier where you actually get an advantage from the straight line speed. All that happens is the drivers just get pushed further and further back, and it becomes harder and harder, and then yeah, you've got to be about a second a lap faster really to get a move done. Seems like a lot of these drivers are all fairly equally balanced, so I think it's all really going to come down to the strategy. Expect the gaps to stay within about a second for the best part of this race, around this sort of midfield pack, but after then, after the pit stops, that's where we might see it spice up and change a bit.
Obviously, if people are one stop, if people are the two stop, then we'll definitely see a couple of changes in position, and maybe people on the one stop holding the guys on two stops up, and if that does happen come the end of the race, it could be interesting. But as of now, it's a bit of single file.
Can't really see anybody that stands out as doing a one-stop pace. Looking at the times in qualifying compared to what they're doing against their competitors now, they seem about sort of equal pace ahead. The only person I would say would perhaps going long is our leader as well. His lap times don't seem quite as quick as they are compared to what the qualifying times would have suggest that he would pull away. So yeah, perhaps he's just going really heavy. There's no way that looks like a one-stop to me. Just looks like a
Daniel Cruz has just half spun it, sorry, into pulled after Priory. What was it? Brooklands.
So
sorry.
Let's catch that back on replay and have a look. See what went on there. Of course, he just looking at the replay, he just managed to pull away a little bit from Mordy, so he got a little bit of breathing room again and could sort of work on focusing on Stefan ahead. But yeah, just gets Steve. No issues going through Priory, but he catches the grass actually on the braking into Brooklands. Just the car drifts around, and we have got tailwind into Brooklands as well, so any kind of imbalance going into that corner is going to get punished, and yeah, that's exactly what happens there.
Yeah, lost a couple of positions in the process, but fortunately it could have been a lot worse. Obviously no rules really there to get him, as it was a slower speed corner, but I'm sure he doesn't want to I'm sure he wants to get back that lost ground and get ahead of Mordy again, but it doesn't seem like Mordy's holding back too.
Mordy's slightly slower than Zoran, who's behind him at the moment as well. That last lap, just 0.2 of a second. Maybe that was due to the mistake of Cruz ahead, but yeah, let's see how well they go this lap as well. But definitely looks as if Zoran there's got a little bit of racing spirit going on out there. Wants to try and get up to him as quick as he can, because yeah, definitely looks like he's closing in 0.7 of a second as they cross the line, I think.
Yeah, well, to be fair, Mordy was 0.3 quicker that last lap, so it looks like that couple of temps slower the previous lap was just having to avoid Cruz a little bit in the on the apex of Brooklands. So Mordy's running a really solid pace, a bit quicker than Altenna last lap, and equal to McFarlane, and just a bit slower than Wensing, so really holding his own, even though he has got a bit of a gap to catch up to Altenna.
Yeah, I wonder if Mordy's perhaps running slightly lower fuel than some of these guys around here. It's always difficult to tell until I think they jump in for the first stop, so definitely a 2-stop, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. If anyone does one stop, that'd be very, very surprising now based on the time, so basically one stop's out of the question.
Just jump back to looking at this battle between Wensing and McFarlane. Those guys pretty inseparable as far as the times. It's definitely a case of I think McFarlane sort of in that dirty air, can't do anything with it, so he's just dropped back to sort of an 8-9 of a second gap. That seems to be where you can hold that quite nicely, and the dirty air doesn't have quite as much effect. Looks like we might have lost Max. No, just had a little spin coming out of, I think that might be Abbey.
Yeah,
it is.
You've got a bit too much curb.
Have a look, just look back on that and replay, see what he did.
Lucky not to collect Marchevsky, as he put on the brakes just before he carried him rolling. So it's just very unfortunate taking a bit too much curb into the corner.
Oh yeah, catches the big curb there. Car just gets all sorts of unsettled. He's around. Unfortunate for him, sets him back 2-3 places maybe there. Francisco just the last one to get ahead.
Yeah, it doesn't really seem as though Francisco's been able to make up many positions since his spin otherwise as well, so definitely track position certainly hasn't helped him.
Interestingly, he's actually re-overtaking Francisco at the moment.
I'm wondering if he's got damage, like full damage possibly.
Must have something, because it's definitely not as quick as we would expect to see, or maybe he is doing a one-stop, and yeah, that's going to be a shame, because that mistake that he made earlier on really is going to ruin that strategy for him.
Yeah, I was just looking at some other speeds down the end of the hanging straight coming into Stowe, and he's about almost 10 kilometres of an hour off at the end of the straight, so it quite possibly could be floor damage.
Yeah, sounds like damage. Just picking up on Max's livery here as well. Obviously running the new McLaren livery, looks very, very nice. But he's got the Hill family helmet on as well, so I love that classic helmet as well. So big fan of Damon, so good to see that being run out there.
Just looking through some other people's helmets. I see Martin's got one sort of like Kimi Raikkonen's, just in the Dutch colours. To say they had to save the car on the exit of Abbey, but yeah, there's a few personalised helmets. Alex McFarlane's got one. I think his team Madcape one. So helmets are some people obviously want to have custom ones to get their own identity.
Yeah, I used to run an old Jensen Button helmet for a while. The one that he used at the Japanese Grand Prix with, you know, after all the nuclear disaster that they had over there. So I ran that for about a year as well. I used to love that helmet. I just need to get it redone with the larger textures and stuff like that that we've now got. It just looks a bit fuzzy now that we can have double the resolution.
Yeah, I got. Whilst we're on the subject, I got one done recently.
McFarlane having a look. He's so close into Cobb's corner.
Sorry, I've been off track. I've been scrolling through the field, but it looks like he's going to make a move. Oh my god!
Yeah, not an overtaking place. Certainly, I wouldn't look to stick my nose in there. So easy to get it chopped off, and he nearly did when Singh just held his line. Surely he's close enough. Tuck into that slipstream. 0.2 of a second back. Perhaps took a little long to get into the slipstream. He's not going to get up to him. The speeds seem very similar actually down the straight, so I wonder if McFarlane's running tiny little bit more wicker on the back of the on the rear wing there, because he didn't look like he had the straight line speed even though he was in the draft.
Just have a look at what was their top speed differences. It's had about 5 kilometres on him, but obviously didn't get a good enough exit because going side by side just got compromised through that. And also apologies for the language, I just flicked back to it and saw what happened, so apologies for that.
Right, we ain't BBC here, no one's going to complain to Ofcom. You're alright.
Oh god. No, I just saw it and was quite not shocked or excited, but yeah. Anyway, it's pretty close, so at least something's hotting up in this race. It's probably because we're so excited we haven't seen anything go on this race.
Let's just stick with this battle, McFarlane. We're showing the speeds up on the straight. Well, he looks a lot quicker in the draft there, going into Cobb's corner. I know that obviously they've got a headwind, so it should make overtaking a little bit easier into Stowe as well. That's assuming the wind is still pointing south.
Yes, it is still south of 17. It hasn't changed once this race, which is interesting actually. He might be close enough as they come into Stowe, but again, it just hasn't got the run off the chapel to get the move done, which is very surprising.
Doesn't look like he's got a long enough 7th gear there. He peaks out about 305 kilometers an hour and doesn't get much more fit. Wenson's struggling to even hit 300 k's down that straight as well, so I'm surprised McFarlane hasn't been able to get past. He's going to perhaps need to exit that corner, Chapel corner there, about 0.2 of a second behind if he's going to actually have a chance to stick his nose up the inside.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult to stay that close, so with the dirty air through the S's section of Maggots and Beckett, so he could make something happen, but it seems unlikely based on the past 2 laps where he's been really close. Also, Martin Van Loozenhold's coming up to the laps on cars, so hopefully they don't give him a difficult time.
Yeah, let's just have a look, wave the blue flag, make sure everything's all good. Huge amount of time, he got plenty of time to be patient, he's not got any need to rush through. 5.5 seconds in front of Vedron, although he has a little weave. Typical racing driver there, can't wait for anyone. But yeah, in fairness, the back marker just moves out of the way, coming out of Stowe, no problems whatsoever, straight through. No time lost there, I would think, at all. Oh, actually, and then the back marker spins it.
Yeah, half span.
Oh, is that going to affect Vedron? No, he's still way out. Be careful as you rejoin, and he does that as well. So, jump back to this battle between McFarlane and Wensing. It looks like Stefan as well is getting slowly reeled in by Mordy and Zoran as well. Cruz is coming back at them as well, so he's definitely got the pace after the spin that he had. So yeah, this little battle, Stefan Morny, Zoran, Cruz, and then it's some 4 seconds back before you get to Foley there.
Yeah, I expect this to be a race-on battle. I mean, we've had 14 laps so far, and they've pretty much been inseparable by at least 4 seconds, so been fairly close. Just a shame there's been no overtaking, but obviously it's a bit difficult, as we mentioned previously. But Morley's definitely got the pace, as he has caught up about a second and a bit gap to Stefan, although Stefan seems to be on, seemed to be on a decent lap, although Morley did catch up just over 2 tenths.
Yeah, another 2
tenths and a bit.
As the fuel burns down, it takes a little while actually. There's something that I think surprised us in the World Championship. You don't really gain as much time as you would think in those early few laps with the fuel burn off, but after about sort of 5 or 6 laps, then the time starts to really come down noticeably a lot quicker. So I think we're starting to see the cars well and truly into that phase now as well. They're all going quicker almost every single lap at the minute.
We could definitely expect some people to come in within, well, by lap 20, so in the next 5 or 6 laps, if they're going to do a 220, 3 lots of 20 lap stints, so definitely expect some early ones in then.
Don't expect we'll see anybody in any earlier than lap 20. I think the window's probably, for the 2 stops anyway, between 20 and 26 I think we'll see. Obviously the 1 stop, people might go as long as 32, but that's about it. But looking at the pace, I'm pretty sure that we only have 2 stoppers out here at the moment.
McFarlane and Wensing getting a bit interrupted by Cees van der Linden. McFarlane got held up a bit more than he would have liked, having to go around the outside of Lucco. I'm sure soon enough he'll catch up within a lap or something. He only lost. He actually caught up a 10th that lap, although he did lose some time going through Brooklands and Lucco.
We've got a good little battle starting to form up a bit further back as well between Francisco, Max and Michael here as well. So 3 cars all separated by a second. I have to say Max done a great job on Mount McLaren. I do like it. Does look quite shiny. Yeah.
He's got Michael Blake right on his rear, so
Michael's in the old sort of Marlboro McLaren style colours there as well, with custom sponsor on it.
Yeah.
I remember when I first drove the FW31 as well, way before a team first joined the sim. That was the livery that I chucked on it as well. Had to go with the old classic McLaren.
I like the Jordan one. I can't remember which one it was. If it's the one with the shark.
The one with the shark.
Yeah, it was a Jordan livery. I think it was my first one. Gotta love a bit of an old Jordan historic livery.
Worth pointing out as well, if you like the classic F1 skins, tune in later on tonight in what are we, about 3 hours time I think it is. No, 2.5 hours time. We've got the British Sim Racers iRacing Grand Prix from Silverstone, so another full length. As Michael Blake just gets a little out of shape, brings it back here around. But yeah, that race starts at 7 GMT, so 8 o'clock UK time, and so it's all about F1s in proper liveries as well. So yeah, we'll be doing lots of fake commentary on Red Bulls, Toro Rossos, and Saubers and Williams and everything, as you can imagine. So it's going to be an awesome looking race. Tune into that. Just 2.5 hours time.
Yeah, it should be a good race. I'm meant to be driving the Toro Rosso in that, and I think Martin van Dusen is also going to be racing in that. So he's got a day full of full Grand Prix distances.
That race is going to be covered by Adam Barth and possibly Matt Dalton. That's if Matt's around, of course. We know he had got pulled away earlier on, didn't he?
Yeah. Also, Zoran and Morty Bart are very, very close to each other. Zoran went for a move just under the bridge, but nothing came of it as Morty held position. And Stefan Altena pulled away a couple of attempts at last lap, I presume, because Zoran's been fighting Morty quite hard.
And Cruz right in the back of Zoran as well there. So.
Yeah.
Well, give a shout out to my man Romer Alcala, who's on the chat at the moment. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you around. Hope the family's all good. Seeing the pictures and everything else like that. Looks like you had a nice holiday recently. But yeah, he's in LA at the moment, just watching the feed.
And Martin's doing some very quick laps. No. Oh, Vedran has just got into a half spin, managed to just about catch it as they come off of Abbey. Very nice save, but definitely not what he wanted. Going to lose just over a second, I presume, from that, but got plenty of time to Heredia behind him, so nothing to worry about.
Take a quick look at that back on replay, see what it was. Oh, it's so easy to do there, isn't it? That inside curve just dips away there, and so easy to be really aggressive there. Plough the right foot down, expecting the car to stick, and just gets a little loose. But yeah, like you say, he caught that really early, so yeah, all good.
Martin's just coming up to lap Ben Gregory, Max Armour and Scott Dick.
You want to take us through a lap of Silverstone the next time Martin comes around? We'll
yeah, sure.
We'll stick with him.
Hopefully he can clear these lap cars before then, so it's a nice clear lap we can get. But it looks like Max Armour's going to... Oh, I'm not sure he's going to make it that easy, because obviously they're all battling for position, but obviously they've got a blue flag waving at them, so you'd hope they're going to obey it, but...
That's
looking a bit tight if that's going to actually happen, so I'm not so sure.
Yeah, always the issue. Definitely frustration for our leader as well at this point.
Yeah, he's losing heaps of time, I'm sure, but he's just got to keep his cool.
Got a 9-second lead, nothing to worry about. Looks like he can go around the outside of one here, maybe not.
Hopefully he can get ahead of Scott.
One has a little bit of a twitch going into Abbey there as well, so that battle that we were watching earlier on.
I don't think he's going to get past.
No, he's not going to have a clear lap. We'll wait for the moment.
Yeah, it'll be within a couple of laps times, we hope.
That's Gregory. Let's jump back to McFarlane as well, see how he is getting on. Still just that 7/10. Nothing he can do whatsoever. The dirty air just affecting him big time at the moment. It's all going to come down to strategy. Now, if you're McFarlane, you're just hoping and praying. We're on lap 20 that Wensing comes into the pits. Well, sorry, they're not on lap 20, are they? This will be lap 19 for them. So next time by, he'll be hoping that he'll be in the pits and McFarlane can get the overcut.
Yeah, obviously the overcut's well known to work in the F1, so long as you don't stretch it too far. So hopefully no one stretches it too far, and anyone who does pit a bit early could lose a few positions. And I think Mordy usually does pit quite early. Usually in the one-stopper races, it usually pits on halfway. So whether he does 3/3 exactly, like 1/3, 2/3, pitting on those exact points, he could lose out. So we'll see if he does pit at the end of this lap. Then when the others pit, they could definitely jump him. But see, that's yet to be seen, as we haven't reached that point yet.
Opportunity maybe for McFarlane, back marker in the way. Still not close enough to get a run. Back marker, yeah, run in actually Kirchhoff's red line.
Martin is in the pit, end of lap 20.
So he's gone for a really optimised. I thought it would be heavy.
And Vedran is still going, so Vedran will take the lead, come as he crosses the right stripe for the next lap.
Like a noob, we're
staying out
still
as well.
watching a replay.
Alright.
There we go, back to live. There he comes in. We're only 15 seconds behind. It was alright.
Okay. Anyway, McFarlane and Wensing have stayed out, so Martin's definitely come in early, and he's going to come out right behind McFarlane and Wensing.
Yeah, hopefully he won't be caught up behind them for too long. All going to be interesting. I wonder how long Vedran's going to go here. So
he's catching up to 4-lap cars though.
Yeah, that's going to be the worst possible timing. And of course, Martin had that on his in lap as well, didn't he? So those two laps beforehand, pretty filled with back markers. So
those two. Oh, okay, maybe he's going to miss the apex totally, but at least they didn't really interfere too much. Just a bit of confusion between each other.
Yeah, Vedran, let's see if he jumps in this time. Might be quite tight exit. No, all the way out to the apex there, so he's going to go for another. In fact, everybody has pretty much gone through as well. Let's have a look. Wensing and McFarlane, see what they do.
Willem's in the pit, and Alex and Wensing have stayed out then.
Yeah, so they might get the chance to catch up with Gwilym there and get the overcut. What were they, about 4 seconds behind, I think, something like that. So it's going to be tough. They're going to have to absolutely go for it for the next 2 or 3 laps to get that sort of time in it.
Definitely. Also, Zoran and Mordy, who are running nose to tail, have both come in on the end of lap 21 as well. So it'd be interesting to see if they do follow each other out the pit lane as well in the same positions.
Zoran, of course, been tucked up behind for quite some time. Let's see.
Oh, it's going to be close. I think Mordy's just going to have it.
Just about see him peeking up over the pit in Armco there. 9.1 second for Zoran. That was really where he got it. Just you need about a second, I think, don't you, to actually get the jump. So pretty decent stop, but in the end, just not quite enough.
Botton's right on the back of McFarlane and Wensing again, so they'll be in the pit soon, of course, and then Martin will be able to get. Okay, it's quite literally just coming into the pits here for McFarlane, and because Scott, does he have damage? I'm not actually sure. Yeah, Scott Dick has been around somewhere. I'm not quite sure where. I'll try to find it. On the exit of Abbey, once again another person getting claimed victim by the curbs. Actually, maybe not that time, just got loose as he very, very marginally clipped the curb, and it wasn't even a nasty bit of it.
Let's jump that back, see if we can catch that on the replay.
Looks as though he just lost the rear all by himself, so
I think we're just seeing the aftermath of that there. Let's jump back a little further. Oh, we're still seeing the aftermath of it, so... Oh well, yeah, heavily into the wall, so... Limped it round. That's probably going to be his day done. These Williams FW31 don't take too well to the damage, and they don't get repaired very easily.
Yeah, so did we say that Vedran pitted? Because he's just pitted as well. He's come up behind that 10 up.
Vedran has pitted, 9 seconds stop, so...
Obviously, Lusenord's kept a fairly solid gap, although he did come in a couple of laps earlier. Overcut. Wood didn't even seem to even appear between the old front two runners.
Whoever that hasn't done too much in this race is Vladimir. We saw him last week at Suzuka. He was very quick there, right on the pace, really giving guys a lot of hassle throughout the race, but really struggled, down in 13th place at the moment. Done his pit stop as well. There's a couple of drivers who haven't pitted ahead of him, so there's a chance for that he might pick up a couple of places, but still I think he would have expected a little more out of this race.
Yeah, definitely, if he did have a good showing at Suzuka as well, but obviously everyone has their preferred track, so maybe Silverstone just wasn't one for him, or one he preferred as much. Anyway,
Wensing's still out there, you know, look, 24, he's going very long in this race. We have seen people go up to 26. Am I right? Is it just my screen? But have we got a little bit of damage on the front of Wensing's front wing there, front right hand side? I don't know where that came from.
It's difficult to tell.
I haven't seen seen any damage.
I don't see any on my screen, so maybe it's just a bit of...
Yeah, just a bit of a phantom one.
Yeah.
That does happen every now and again.
Interesting that Lusenord, although clearly quicker, he just can't make anything of it, as I see some dust kicked up there. See Van der Linden maybe he went off, but yeah, the dirty air, even for someone who's pitted on fresher rubber and is effectively quicker throughout the whole of the stint, can't get through. And Wensing's still going, so Lusenord's going to be held up a little bit again.
Just a question that's come. Well, it's not really a question. It's more of a statement of fact from Justin on the YouTube. What's your view about that driver that's driving a red line livery out there right now?
I think it's a bit stupid to run. It's clearly Atsy's skin. And he's obviously uploaded the training paints for himself.
It's got Atsy's name on the back of the wing and everything as well. Totally.
I've seen it before. I've seen it before, and I've asked people have asked other people's opinions. Hopefully, this doesn't go too badly for the leaders.
Wensing getting held up here. Just gonna have to go through a couple of cars there, but yeah, I just think it's crazy.
It doesn't make sense why you'd run another driver from a very good team's skin when obviously it's clearly not Atsi. No disrespect, but his name's not Atsi Kirkov.
You can understand like the you know, the real F1 skins or some random ones that people do, but yeah, when it's a pro team and an actual driver's name on it, I just think it's a bit silly.
It's not the only one I've seen. I've seen someone running Marcus Caton's skin as well. So yeah, there's a couple going around using WCS drivers' skins, which is a bit odd, but there you go. They can all aspire to be there one day.
Wensing's still out there. What's interesting, lap times are falling off a little bit actually. Who was chasing him down? McFarlane. Still just slightly slower, only 3 or 4 tenths that last lap. 121.8 for McFarlane, and we compared that to a 121.4. But if he's not going to have pulled away that much. This is, I think, when we talk about sometimes when you can go too long, so the time just doesn't, you know, you just don't get the advantage by going that much longer. And in fact, he's under that much pressure that he's actually slowing himself down a bit.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say after about lap 24 or 25 even, he's definitely gone a bit longer because his times drastically have dropped off by over half a second, it seems. So maybe he's shot himself in the foot if McFarlane can get up to speed nice and quickly, but maybe he's going to put in some less fuel for the final stint, final 2 stints even, so the fresher rubber on that, it might help him, but we'll have to see.
If he doesn't pit in this lap when Sink, then he's on a 1-stop. And he really has shocked me with the strategy because he definitely had really good pace.
Interesting, staying out again.
Yeah, so he's going for a 1-stop. I'm almost sure of it. At this point, it's almost not worth doing anything other than a 1-stop. I would put the extra fuel in as well. So it just goes to show how how difficult it is to overtake. I mean, he's not going to be in a shout for the win. Because Martin's going to absolutely fly away. They've each got 1 pit stop to make at this point, but Martin, once he pits, he'll be like 1 or 2 seconds a lap faster as well because of the lighter car compared to Wensing. So yeah, it's going to be nobody's grim, but he could have a shout at second place here.
Just looking further down the field as well, Stefan Altella hasn't pitted yet either, so unless he comes in this lap, if they don't come in before lap 30 or 29, after that they're definitely on a 1-stop. They've got to be. If Stefan, obviously a bit further down the pack, but if he has been on a 1-stop, he's certainly held his own throughout the race and could be on for a great result, as could Daniel as well if he does make the 1-stop work, if he is on it. At the end of this lap we'll see, but
Tafoni also not been in stop, and Gutierrez not been in as well, so there was a few drivers doing it out there, so we said we couldn't, we said we couldn't really see the drivers with the pace and stuff that was going on there, so testament to those guys really. They pulled the wall over our eyes a little bit there and had great pace. So yeah, just looking at that lap, just nothing Martin can do to get close. That gap stayed about 2 or 3 tenths of a second the whole way around there. So 1 minute 20.5 though, so pretty decent lap from Wensing's. Definitely getting low on fuel now. Martin this time, surely he's got an opportunity to get a run. He looks closer than he's ever been, just 3 tenths of a second coming out of Chapel there.
Don't think he's going to have the legs to do it, not quite.
Too far back.
Just looking at Alex McFarlane, just about to cross the line, start lap 28 for him, 121.2. So,
still losing time.
Yeah, Wensing, 0.7 quicker that lap. Obviously got to pit in a bit more fuel for the 1-stop. So it could be close to where he comes out, but at this rate, if he is going to still be on a 1-stop, then
well, the gap's 32 seconds, and it is about 30 seconds here. But of course, remember, Wensing's got to put a little bit more fuel in as well, so it's going to be perhaps 2 or 3 seconds more stationary as well. So this is going to be very, very close on the pit strategy. Of course, he's definitely got the high ground because he won't have to pit again, and it's all going to be about McFarlane trying to build up a gap. He will be quite a bit quicker during this phase after the pit stop, but I don't think it's going to be enough.
Yeah, it's going to, as we keep saying, it's going to be close. I mean, if talking about close, Luzernord is right on the back of him. I mean, Wensing's still done a 0.4 that last lap as well, so not terrible pace either for someone on a 1-stop on very, very dead tyres, but Luzernord all over the back of him now as they come out of Chapel.
Grellum there as well. Yeah, no. Grellum from 5th place spun, puts Stefan up into 5th place. That was just before Brooklands, I believe. Let's just take a quick little look at that back and see what it was.
There was a few things which happened at Prairie. Gwilym got loose, Cees van der Linden turned into Benjamin Gregory, and it all went down between 3 cars there, all in separate instants really, except for the one between Cees and Benjamin. Not ideal. You might want to take a look at that Cees one, because that seemed very erratic and very odd. And Ben certainly has a lot of damage from that on his side pod. Gwilym, meanwhile, is falling into the clutches of McFarlane.
Just see if we can see what went on them for Ben as well. Not sure we've gone quite back far enough. Oh yeah, oh dear. Just could have been worse for Ben, but like you say, he's got the side pod damage.
Oh, Wensing span it. Wensing span it out the final corner. Turn 16, penultimate corner even. Oh, okay, he got a helping hand from Van Dusenhoorn. I got back onto the drivers as they were coming through Woodcote, and yeah, Daniel's heading into the pit. He got a tap from Dusenhoorn as they come out of Luffield.
The other problem with being a one-stop, he will not be happy with that for sure.
Obviously, lack of traction on the exit. Obviously, Dusenhoorn's got more, so yeah, it's a difficult one. Not ideal.
He was coming into the pits as well. I think that was the difference as well. So he was a bit slow because he was coming into the pits. That's really going to affect him. He's probably lost maybe 6 or 7 seconds there. So see what that does for him. But
he's behind McFarlane.
Yeah, that's the thing. Let's jump it back to live. See where we are. Come out.
Benjamin Gregory backwards and still as they come through Beckett. It's not the day for him to remember. Erevin's been going off in the last couple of laps, so sorry about this, we got to all catch up for it.
Yeah, 7.2 seconds the gap between Wensing and McFarlane, so that just yeah, so what, 7.9 now. So that just goes to show actually that little spin, that would have been very close. I still think he's got a chance of beating McFarlane, to be honest, based on his strategy, but that's not going to have helped matters at all.
He doesn't look to have any rear wing damage, but
no.
As you say, it's definitely set back in his way. He's lost a good chunk, about 8 seconds from what other people had done on their in-laps to the pits, so if that hadn't happened, he might have just been ahead of McFarlane. I bet you he's going to be kicking himself for that. Obviously not exactly his fault, just a bit of a shame. There you go, it's happened, and he's just got to get his head down and try get in some good laps now.
Stefan's also been into the pit, served his 1:11.9 seconds, so you can see the one-stoppers were about 2.5 seconds slower in the pit, so not quite as much as what I said, but looks like, yeah, we were talking about 33 seconds in total, so it was it would have been very, very close, I think, without that little spin.
Yeah, Alex is actually quite close to Gwilym in battle for 4th since Heredia had his spin, so it could have had quite a big gap. But McFarlane's going to be right on him, I think, although he has been going 3 times quicker that past lap.
McFarlane closing in on Gwilym, say 1.5 seconds. Gutierrez into the pits as well for his one and only stop. Fortunately, the mistakes earlier on in this race have cost him dearly. He was only in 11th when he pitted. He needed to be sort of 3rd, 4th area to have had a decent finish.
He's come out in just probably, well, a couple of quarters behind Cruz in 12th place. Not really sure what's happened to Cruz. He wasn't up a bit further up the field, so he's definitely had a couple of mishaps throughout the race. Obviously, we saw the one at Vale.
If I bring up on screen right now his pit stop time, 44.5 seconds. That's what happened to Cruz. So that can only be a speeding penalty, a major speeding penalty as well. Like he forgot to brake. So. Yeah, it's normally about 20 seconds, I think, isn't it, for a penalty? Unless you steam in there without slowing down, then you get a worse one.
I've just scrolled back and he actually hit the... he was fine on the limiter, no issues whatsoever. I'm just looking at the lap after where it seems to be an invalidated lap, so it might be something to do with that. I'm just scrolling through. Very, very weird. I'm not exactly totally sure what happened.
Very odd.
Yeah, that just seems incredibly weird. Scrolled back to his pit and didn't speed or anything. Seemed to be a fairly normal pit stop, so something obviously happened in the pits or something.
Mordy closing in on the back of Foley here. Just 9/10 of a second. Those guys sort of exchanging positions in the pit stop, I think actually it was. So that late stop managed to pit very well. Was he another driver who's doing a one stop? When did he pit in? If that was last lap, looking at the previous lap time, he's going to be on a one stop as well. So yeah, Mordy definitely going to struggle to beat him here. He needs to get ahead of him really, really quickly. I think it's almost fair to say it would be impossible from here.
Yeah, it looks like Mordy's going to be, although Stefan behind him does seem to be struggling a little bit. Mordy, I think at best he can hope for 8th position, but the one stop, surprisingly, for the majority of the field, who we thought were definitely on two stoppers, seems to be the way to go. But then again, depends on track position and everything, so don't count anyone out like Zoran, who is on a two stop for sure. But he's in 6th at the moment, and he is bridging a gap to the guys on the one stoppers behind him.
As we said, we need about 30 seconds, don't we, to do that? So he's got quite a way to go to get that, but we've still got about 6-7 laps, I would think, maybe before he comes in, maybe even as many as 8. So yeah,
it could be a bit far-fetched, to be fair.
Yeah, looking at the pace compared to those guys, though, he's about 1.2 to 2 seconds a lap faster at this point, so he is flying away, and this is where the two-stop strategy really comes into its own, this phase of the race. But yeah, before you know it, it's pit time, and they don't get. It's key to get out ahead, even if they come out just behind. They might have fresh rubber, but it's still so hard to overtake here.
I mean, there's been suggestions of how they could make the racing better in the F1 with dirty air and the draft and stuff, but if we just want to implement it so we can have some close racing again on the track without dirty air being the most overpowering thing on the track.
It certainly was requested at the beginning of 2015. Oh, big mistake there from Toffoli. Got himself wide onto the AstroTurf, spun himself around, just about misses Mordy, and yeah, he's lost himself up a good 10 seconds there. Yeah,
that's definitely played into the hands of Mordy and into Zoran, in fact. So not good, although he's on a one stop. That is definitely going to come back to bite him. Very unlucky, but as we know, the AstroTurf is very torturous.
That AstroTurf is. It's just so bumpy, isn't it? The cars just get completely unsettled. All you can do when you get on that is to lift and hope and pray that your car doesn't spin. Or if you know you're going to go wide, then just go straight wide and get onto back onto the tarmac on the other side.
Yeah, majority of the times when I've done that, I've been spat out into the inside or outside wall. It's never ended well, so at least his race is still going, but his tyres might be a bit cooked now.
Gary Larson closing in on the back of Stefan. We haven't seen much of Gary today at all.
We haven't.
Barely even knew he was in the race, to be honest. It's the first bit of airtime that he's got. So, but he's up into 10th place. Driver that's most definitely on a two-stop there.
Just whilst we're on that battle, obviously Stefan seems to have let him through. Stefan has got some front wing damage from somewhere, and I'm not quite sure where.
Yeah, and he's in 26s as well, and that's probably why he's not fought that battle at all.
Yeah, it looks as though Stefan got that wing damage on his outlap. Just looking back at it now, very odd to see that, but considering he had an incident-free first stint, so he's going to have to deal with the whole of the second stint with a broken front wing, which I'm sure is not what he wanted. Yeah, I'm just looking actually back at Stefan. Obviously a replay would be able to go back this far, but Mordy went for a move as they went into Vale and made it stick, come out a bit wide to cover off Stefan, then they just collided and Mordy span and Stefan got the front wing damage, so all a bit of a cluster there. Both the drivers, obviously Stefan ended up a bit worse though.
Right, let's just have a check-in with everybody now. Maybe it's time to do an onboard lap, I think, Cam.
Alright, here we go. We can do it this time. There's no one in the middle. between Van Loosenhoorn and the line now. So obviously, as they come up towards Copse Corner, Van Loosenhoorn's going to be powering up towards 7th gear. He'll take a very brief lift as they head into the corner, possibly shifting down to 6th depending on how his gearing's set. Van Loosenhoorn did shift down to 6th. Not getting on the AstroTurf to send him wide. Now he comes into the Magnets and Beckett's complex. Flat out for the first bit, lifting just as you hover over the curb, lifting again as you head into Beckett's, and then powering through as you go into Chapel. It's very on and off the throttle the first sector of the lap, so you've got to really nail it, especially in qualifying trim, which we know Van Loosenhoorn did. As we come up to Stoke braking just after, about 50 metres after the board where it tells you to turn in, taking it in 4th gear as we head up to Vale. Sort of very miniature blind crest which you base on your braking point, shifting it down to 2nd and having to be very careful as you come around Club Corner. I think this says, I don't even know Silverstone and I'm from Britain, so I do apologise. But anyway, we're coming up to Abbey, the most treacherous corner based on its curbs are on track, taking it in 2nd gear for the first part, taking a nice bit of curb, opening up the exit of it and powering through the gears as you come under bridge to Priory, taking a nice wide line, shifting down to 3rd gear as you come up. Got to be careful on the exit because there is a little bump there which can send you up and around. Anyway, as we head into Brooklands, taking that in 2nd, and Luffield again going to be taking it into 2nd, keeping tight to the curb and then powering through the exit. Start lap 38 of the race.
Looks like a good solid lap there from our leader. Car does look quite planted, so obviously enjoying himself out there at the moment.
Yeah, it was a very clean lap from Van Loosenhoorn. Had to try and keep up with his lap as I was speaking, so there you go. He is driving a hell of a race in a very quick laps doing so. Hasn't got any pressure from behind. He's just, as you say, enjoying himself. Really running the car ragged and doing it well.
Yeah, 12.5 seconds. Now the grid really has strung out quite considerably at this point. So just as we see the gaps really on screen, I mean, Martin's lapped all the way up to 7th place, and at this rate, I would dare say he's probably gonna get maybe up to P3. What's he got left? 22 laps left?
It's possible.
I'm thinking maybe P3. So certainly up to 5th place, I think, or 5th and beyond. So he's going to get, but yeah. Right, closest cars we've got on track right now, because really it is starting to string out quite a lot. We've got Stefan and Daniel Cruz here. This is 10th and 11th place.
4 seconds off the pace. Stefan is that last lap.
Yes.
Due to that broken front wing.
Nothing he can do. He's on a one-stop strategy anyway. So if he comes in, it's completely done. Although 4 seconds a lap, it's only going to take about 10 laps, and you've gained your time. So you know, not even that. I mean, that's 40 seconds. So it's probably more like 7 or 8. So yeah, it would have been best just to jump in, get a new wing, new set of boots, and carry on. Then he's effectively got 2-stop fuel on there, and he's not fighting anybody. So yeah, perhaps a bit of a miscalculation there. Long old race as well. So from when he had that damage, that's 20 laps. So 4 seconds a lap slower.
Definitely losing out
that's
a lot.
Like 8. That's like 80 seconds he's lost there, unless my maths is completely rubbish, which wouldn't surprise me. So yeah, one pit stop at 30-35 seconds is going to be much better off.
Maybe the field will close up after the second stops again, but it's definitely strung out now with not much happening except the old car.
Yep, snooze fest comes to mind. So this is the only problem with the 100% races. Everybody wants a couple in there, but at this point in the race, you just want them to be over.
The 100% as we've got obviously this one, then we got Monza. Do we have Monza? I can't remember. I think Monza and Spa as well.
Just Spa, I think. I don't think it's Monza as well. I think it's just this one and Spa. I don't think the Monza race is the same week. I might be wrong.
Yeah, I can't remember. All I know is I thought we had 3 and they're all on race weekends, but whichever the race weekends are, that they've got 100%ers on iRacing, put it that way.
I'm going to have a quick look, just because, well, there's nothing else going on.
Yeah, we can afford to do so.
Let me set it to Crash Cam and see if we can catch something. And unfortunately, it's focused on. Oh no, it's got Gwellham. It's closing in on our back marker.
I was hoping to focus in on Martin.
Right, let's have a look at the schedule. 20 laps left of this race to go. No, I don't think Monza is. Monza's only 53 laps.
Yeah,
Oh, it might be.
That's 100%.
That's 100%. Yeah. So, why did I think it was longer? So,
I think Monza's definitely is the shortest 100%er in the real F1. So
yeah, it's lap time. I think that's the thing, isn't it? The track itself is actually
long.
quite. Oh god, there's a cat underneath my feet. I just squished it. I don't know where that got in there, but apparently it's there. So, but yeah, so that's such high speed, isn't it? That's the thing. As Vedran just gets himself all out of shape. Yes, definitely. Let's leave it on crash cam. We can catch everything.
Yeah, he, to be fair, he did manage to catch it after going on the AstroTurf, so at least he wasn't one to fall victim to it. Even if he had fallen victim, I'm sure he would have kept his second position. Oh, Wayne McFarlane is losing a bit of time to Herdia, so never heard of Herdia before this race, but certainly got some very good pace.
Yeah, exactly. 121.7 last time, so yeah, not his best lap actually. McFarlane does a 120.9, so 2.5 seconds between them now.
Wensing's doing well as well. Sorry to butt in, but Wensing 21.5, but he's going to be very close to, I think, McFarlane.
Yeah,
could be
actually
very close.
Got to take that into consideration as well, haven't you? So the 30-second stop, I think that does put him into what would be a net third position, I think,
yeah,
based on who's pitted and whatnot. So
Newsom's in the pit.
don't think it's going to have made any difference whatsoever if he'd have done the. Sorry, if he hadn't been turned around. There you go. That's what I was saying.
Newsom's come in the pit, final stop of the race. Got to do 18 laps, I think, on this set of tyres, and Lurfio Storage is going to want to put in quality laps each lap. He's going to come out clear air, easy clear air behind Daniel, and way ahead of Stefan Altena, so on his way to the end.
Yeah, 18 lap little short sprint now to the end. Reset everything and just go for it. Have a bit of fun. Just on board actually with McFarlane going through Sector 1 now. So good actually at Silverstone. When you nail it through there, flat out, you just, you love it. It's just such a good complex. I think the only section of track that I think beats that is Istanbul Turn 8. I love that corner as well.
Yeah,
by Turn 8 we're talking about all 5 apexes of it.
Basically Turn 8, it should just still be classed as Turn 8 because that's what everyone knows it as. It is a good corner, flat out. I'm sure in real life neck muscles will work into the extreme with it. I mean, it's a good track. Imagine driving around that. Unbelievable.
Yeah, basically flat out in the F1 cars as well. So
I wouldn't go with that with the new ones, but
well, no, true, maybe not.
With these ones for
certainly
sure.
These ones. So yeah, but probably going to be pulling maybe 4G, I think, probably around
maybe
there.
5.
Yeah. Well, I think they only pull 5, sort of in the braking zones.
Oh, okay.
It's look, Kirchhoff's off. I mean, Beecham's off.
Kirchhoff making a very rare mistake there. But,
who is that? That's Michael Blakeoff as well, again. So, yeah, definitely a bit of fatigue creeping in now.
I was thinking Beecham and Blake are battling each other, but it turns out they are on separate laps. So, just Michael Blake just losing time to Marchevsky, to be honest. Although Marchevsky is way off into the distance down Hanging Straight, while Blake is coming into Luffield.
Stefan's race is just going from bad to worse now. He's getting lapped by absolutely everybody out there, so he's still trying to limp it around. Maybe he's afraid that if he pits in, the car's going to get some sort of quick repairs and it's going to be even worse.
Again. Whilst we're talking about that, Gutierrez did make a mistake off of club.
having a shocker at the moment. Let's take a quick look at see what happened there. Club is easy enough to spin at though, isn't it? So we know.
Yeah, got to be so careful when you get the power down. Luckily the track's fairly cold to give more grip, but it's certainly one of the corners you've got to look out for on this track because it can be an issue.
Well, that doesn't half make it worse because you get tailwind coming out of it.
Willem is in the pits, so
yeah,
where he's going to come out to Wensing, I think Wensing's going to be way ahead.
Yeah, I think so. See how long this pit is. Where's Wensing? Here comes Wensing. Straight through.
Already.
Easy.
Zoran's in the pit as well. So McFarlane could as well. Oh wait, hold on. McFarlane's already pitted, so we missed that. McFarlane's pitted. Wensing has jumped both of them, so he's up into third. And Zoran's just coming out in the pit, as is Mordy. So and Vedran as well. So pit party in here today.
Yeah, Wensing's 50 seconds behind Vedran, so even with that 10 seconds it'd have been 40, so he would have been close, but he would have been in what, 8 seconds behind Vedran, so yeah, he wouldn't have had seconds, so even with that I think he's still gonna get probably what he would have done without the incident. Vedran in as well. Like 3 stops starting to rev up, almost done. 8.6 second stop for him, very very quick. Other driver in, Daniel Cruz. Cruz going to have a really short stop, 8.1, very very quick indeed. Fortunately just loses a few places to Larson and Stefan as well, but I'm pretty sure they're both going to jump Stefan with his damage that he's got.
Yeah. I just wish he pitted as soon as he got it done because the damage has already been done by it now.
Yeah, that's the thing. He'd have probably been about here now, but at least he would have had a fresh car and slightly newer tyres as well, you know?
Definitely. Keep out to watch. I wouldn't really call it a battle yet, but it will be Wensing, Heredia, and maybe McFarlane if he can tag along come the end of the race. Because although he's going to be on older tyres, Wensing, Heredia's had some very good pace throughout the race, so it could
they will
close.
They will close up definitely. It's the old Murray Walker line, isn't it? Catching's one thing, but overtaking is another. And around Silverstone, it's just taken to a whole new level. Big shout out to everybody who's watching the broadcast. Not many of you, but we appreciate it as well. Obviously iGPS is on a bit of an off season, no pro licenses going, but we still decided to do these broadcasts, and it's good that people are jumping in on the races and tuning in as well. Come and have a chat, ask some questions, let's talk rubbish.
Yeah, I mean it's 100%, like what else is there to do when the field's spread out?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, got a 3-car group covered by about 2.5 seconds, but yeah, it just looks like that's kind of locked in place right now. And that's Stefan, of course, with his damage, and then Larson and Cruz. Let's see what the lap time difference is. I'll tell you what, Wensing he's got third easy. There's only 0.1 of a difference between the lap times last time by. Yeah, 5.8 second gap, and if you just look at the time, so 121.1 versus a 121.0 for Gwelem there, so can't see he's going to have any issues whatsoever that.
Unless he makes a horrific mistake, then
well,
yeah, I agree.
I could have just cursed him there, couldn't I, in a big
yeah,
way?
commentators curse. We know what Dan Benefield's like with that, don't we?
Oh, we have got
oh, that was close. You did almost curse him, Alex. You're good at doing that.
Little battle definitely starting to form. Larson, Cruz, Stefan's dropped down behind him, unfortunately. Just that damage just costing him big time there, but
yeah,
Dennis, I'll say that battle is just... Sorry, go on.
I was going to say Atsy's come out of the pit, but should move out the way I expect. He knows what he's doing.
This is what happens, you see, when you don't drive for ages. You become 17th in, you know, in the non-split races.
I know. Anyways, still remembered the code of blue flag, so moved out of the way nicely, fortunately. So, but in all seriousness, at least Beecham has moved out of the way and has done all race for the blue flag, which is fair enough.
Yeah, yes, indeed. So
having a bit of joke about it, but in all seriousness, he's done a good job moving out of the way for them.
Yep. Hello to Tiny Boss Gaming, first stream that he's picked up on ours. Good to have you with us. Oh, as Beecham just goes a little wide there. Right, let's have a little check-in, see where where's everybody at the moment. So, Van Loosenlord 15 seconds ahead of Vedran. Wensing in third place, obviously on the one stop, being hunted down by Glenn and McFarlane right now. Toffoli also on a one stop, and then Zoran in 7th. Morty is in 8th, Gary Larson, Daniel Cruz, Stefan in 11th, Gutierrez in 12th place, Vladimir Marchevsky in 13th, Michael Blake, he's had his issues in 14th, Max also had a few issues in 15th, Samuel in 16th, and then Beecham we saw in 17th. Runners that have got themselves retired: Ben Gregory, Ces van der Linden there in 19th, that was quite some time ago, and Scott Dick as well, we know had that mistake quite early on.
Scrolling through the field and it's just spread out at least a second between everyone. Yeah, Alex, what do you think about the new Silverstone boss from that? Oh, is that sorry?
Yeah,
we'll come back to
Larson,
that in a minute.
That's Cruz straight through as well. Larson didn't really fight that too much. Sorry, go on. That move's pretty much
done. Actually spot that as I was scrolling through. I was going to say, what do you think about new Silverstone? Should iRacing put it in ASAP?
Oh, they should. Don't. It's a pet hate of mine. Bloody hell, yes. should be on there. They've had that stream since scan even since 2012, I think. They announced it like shortly after I joined. I was like, yes, we're going to get the new Silverstone. Excellent. I joined at the right time, and 3.5 years later, and we still haven't got it. So come on, put a finger out, get the new track. This one has got the worst textures going as well.
It's got the worst curb at Abbey.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Just asked a question. I was going to say about the wind.
Have we been able to see the wind? I haven't. I don't know if you've been able to.
It hasn't changed all race. I've just looked now. It's just changed to southwest at 17. It was south all race at 17, and it's now gone to southwest. Nothing else has changed whatsoever.
Yeah, I think from what I've seen. I mean, I've done a whole bunch of different tests, and you get them. It might move from south to southwest, or north to northwest, or northeast, whatever it is like that. But the speed generally stays around the same, fluctuates just a tiny little bit, nothing too much. So, for the most part, it's okay. But you do get the Larson off in the background. Is he going to get recovered before Gutierrez comes? I don't think he is. He's trying to get going. He's lost the place to Gutierrez as well.
Still a bit loose as they're coming under bridge and into Priory, so rear tyres definitely heated up.
You know what that's all about as well, so just get a little slide on and cook those tyres, and then of course it's the grip drop off is just ridiculous.
I think Gary just overshot it as they went into Abbey. Shame, because he was quite close to Cruz, although Cruz was pulling away, but still running very solidly inside, just inside the top 10 and 10th.
It's just come back on the weather. From what I've seen as well, is you get the odd one random session that you'll go in where the wind will just go nuts and it will just spin around the compass, you know, in about 10 seconds flat. So you'll have every different wind direction possible, you know, in like 2 corners, and it's like, what the heck is going on? The car's all over the place. So yeah, as long as they sort of fix those issues, I think it's going to be pretty. It's going to be all right, to be honest. But those random sessions that you get, if you get one of those in a race, yeah, you're going to know it.
Definitely. Talking about the wind still, it just changed from 1 kilometre an hour to 18 for about 5 seconds, and changed back to 17. It's changed very, very marginally, if at all. It's basically dynamic for the actual session, so you just don't know what the weather's going to be in the session. And when you're in there, it doesn't change one bit. The track temp, the air temp. It stays exactly the same. The wind, obviously, can go a bit berserk sometimes, but it it's basically stayed the same since qualifying.
I think on the longer sessions you do see a little variation in temperature as well. I certainly remember running some of the endurance events, like the Neo events. Oh, we've got spinner, Gutierrez, he got given that position by Larson, he just hands it straight back to him.
He does.
And Stefan's going to probably get a run on him as well, so not going to get by though. Still got that wing damage, just holding him back. But yeah, so I think back when I did some of the Neo races, like the track temperature would vary by a degree, maybe 2 at max. But you're talking like a 6-hour session. They're the only ones that really change the track temperature. So it's just the wind, and it's not a great deal. Certainly when I raced at Watkins, you didn't really notice it. Occasionally there'd be a little shift and you go, okay, yeah, maybe I got a bit more of a tailwind that time, but it was generally it was all right actually. Got no idea what the balance is going into the race. So yeah, take a lucky pick at a setup, but apart from that, yeah, it's okay.
I really think we're going to have a battle for third on our hands come the end of the race. Gilliam has been catching up quite a lot. I'm not really sure if you know how much big distance is on the timing, but it looks about 2.5 seconds.
Yeah, 2.3 at the moment.
Really has caught up in the last 5 laps, about 2.5 seconds. So I don't put it past him to about get third place before the end of the race.
And a little bit of traffic this lap as well. That might have set him back a bit. So we'll see.
He was quicker by half a second. So yeah, he's on a charge to catch up with Wensing.
Yeah, let's look at the time. Wensing 1:21.1. He's been able to keep that sort of time quite consistent since pitting. So 1:20.6 there. So yeah, down to 1.7 seconds. He's coming. We've got 9 laps to go, so he's going to have a fair bit of pressure. But I have to say, Wensing was able to hold on earlier on quite well on his strategy. So when he had McFarlane behind him on the 2-stop, there's no way McFarlane looked like he was going to get a run past, so it could be exactly the same again.
Yeah, McFarlane's out of the question now. He was close and he's just slowly dropped back. I mean, you can still see him down the straight, but he won't have an answer for third place anymore. No,
he just looks like he's running the same sort of times as Wensing, so yeah, nothing going there. 4.4 seconds is the gap between those. Between him and Graham at the moment as well. So
I think was it Kleber as well, who's on that one stopper, had that moment around turn 1.
Yeah,
he's actually ahead of Zoran and he's ahead of Morley as well. So although he's had that moment and they are a bit closer than they would have been, Kleber is up into 6th place because of him one stopping. Yeah,
they're closed in. Let's have a look at the time difference between them as well. Zoran 21.2. Compared to 21.8, so yeah, he's coming quite quickly. I mean,
it's going to be a couple of battles come the end of the race. I'm sure for 3rd and for 6th is definitely going to be on the cards. It's going to be close, I'm sure. Permitting Noah makes an uncharacteristic mistake, as Toffoli did before. I'm sure he won't want that to happen. Guillem last lap was just under 4 times quicker again, so really is closed up now. Martin, go check Martin. He's hit the wall. I don't know what's happened. Out of turn 1, he's got loose and he's gone flying into the barrier on the outside.
Have a little look at that back on replay. Puts him down into 2nd place already.
He's retiring.
Little lack of concentration there. Oh god, yeah, he just got loose going in, and normally you see it go. Oh god,
that's incredibly unusual. It's like the rear just went light as he got touched the curb on the inside.
Corrected it straight away, and then just got the horrible snap back. The death twitch or whatever you want to call it. Car is toast. That is, yeah.
16.5 second lead as well, easily dominating all 54 laps of this race prior to that, and that actually sucks so bad for him. He ran such a good race up until that very minor mistake, and then the wall comes back to bite him. Such a shame.
That is iRacing tyre physics at their best right there. Oh, have a twitch, catch it. Oh, hold on, snap. You know what I mean? Just no way would it do that.
I don't know, it's all wrong.
Oh dear. Oh well.
Willem seems to have been able to get within draft as well. He's within draft and having a look. Whether or not he's going to be able to put a pass on, well, I doubt, because we know what the draft's like. But fingers crossed, we'll have a fight to the end, and it might happen.
Yeah, obviously everybody promoted a position now, so this is actually going to be battle for second place.
Yeah, second place. And obviously Vedran looks like he's going to, well, effectively walk it now because he's out in front, although would have been saying that, but Lewson had not had that mistake. Battle for second really is on. McFarlane, I should say, was 1.5 seconds quicker than Wensing last lap and a second quicker than Heredia. So it could be far-fetched for him to come in, but he is definitely running a good pace.
Surely this time for Gwelem, just 1/10 of a second. Wensing having to go very defensive into Stowe, manages to hold on. He's going to get a cut back. He's going to have to go around the outside if he's going to do it. Wensing's got the inside covered. Oh, late on the brakes for Wensing. Very good. Still hits the apex. It's a great defensive move there. Although, don't count out Gwelem for a move perhaps into Abbey. Both drivers get a reasonable exit out of Club Corner. So having a look one way and the other.
Yeah, Gwelem got a very, very good. He's just botched up the exit of Abbey, so he won't be able to have a look. But some very, very good defending from Wensing there, covering off the position into Club very nice, into Vale very nicely. Gwelem, I'm sure he's going to be all over him for the final 5 laps of the race. And McFarlane, look how much he has closed up this lap. I'm sure he's closed up at least a second. He really is going to be on the tail.
Yeah, that's the thing. Once you start having battles like that, you just lose so much time.
With 5 to go, they're definitely not going to hold back. And I mean, they've lost 1.7 seconds to McFarlane in that lap alone. It's all going to go off in Mackett's and Beckett's here for sure. Maybe not.
Just wishful thinking, I think.
Well, you know, we have seen people go too wide in there earlier in the race, didn't we? It was Wensing and McFarlane, so
0.2 of a second off. Let's look at the speed difference now. Quite noticeable. 6 or 7 again. Wensing goes very defensive into Stowe. He's going to have to go around the outside. He's going to make it stick. Does it beautifully.
Oh, Wensing almost span as well. What a move though by Gwelem. Very, very nicely executed for sure. Now Wensing's going to have a mirrors full of McFarlane as well, while Gwelem's probably going to stretch the gap as well.
Let's take a little look at that back on replay. That was a great move. Want to see it again. If we can get a slightly different camera angle. And the only camera angle I got also doesn't show the overtake. Oh, I will get it. Only thing with some of the iRacing cameras sometimes, they don't switch quick enough. Once again, let's just take a little look at this replay. Just going through Beckett's, Maggots, Chapel. Got a good line out of Chapel. That was the key thing there, wasn't it? Enough slipstream.
Set him up very nicely. I bet you Wensing's going to be sort of fuming now about that spin, isn't he?
Yeah, that's a great move around that outside. Yeah, you're right. That 10 seconds, that was enough for second place, damn guaranteed. So,
nonetheless, it's put on a good show for us, and actually a final 5 laps of having limited stuff to going on in the middle of the race. I'm sure McFarlane's going to get him before the end as well, but Williams easily going to have second position now.
Oh, McFarlane looking to the inside at Vale. A little squirrely under braking, but that's okay.
Just looking back in the pack, Toffoli obviously up into 5th now. Zoran is catching 4 tenths that lap, but I think it's going to be a bit far-fetched now for him to get into 5th position, but we will see, as we didn't think it was going to be a bit far-fetched for these guys to catch up with Wensing.
Yeah, Wensing's got nothing for Gwelem ahead of him, so it's just a case of trying to hold on, see if he can at least get a little bit of draft down the straights to try and play the defensive role to McFarlane. Just seeing Martin in the chat saying it was a good fun race, but it was a shame he lost it. through Beckett's, Maggots, Chapel.
I think he could have him here, but
Yeah, he's got a
it's
good
going to
run,
be close.
three tenths of a second difference. Seen Winston go defensive. You don't want to do that too early this time. No, not quite close enough to get a run this time.
I think he may have been able to stick up the inside, but being more gentlemanly about not diving in and lunging in there, although he could have had a shot at Bell. Although Wensing seems to be very, very good on the brakes. That is one thing we've seen from his defensive driving.
He is late on the brakes, but he still manages to make the apex. I'm not sure he's carrying the speed through the corner, just because he's burning up the tyres a little bit in the braking zones, but it's keeping him track position. That's the key thing.
He's parking the bus well, as they'd say in football or something.
I think Vedran's guaranteed the victory here. 36 seconds ahead. 2 seconds, he can't afford to make a mistake like Martin did, mind you. But Willem also pulling away quite comfortably here. It's all about this battle for the final podium position.
Just under 4 tenths as they cross the line with the penultimate lap. It's going to be close. If McFarlane can get a good run out here, it's quite possible he'd be able to get a good get an overtaking opportunity done. But I think he's just a bit too far back.
Yeah, that was a good run, but like you say, I think he's just not quite going to be close enough.
7th's long enough. It's just he wasn't able to draw alongside because of the exit. Also, Vedran's just coming onto his final lap of the race, but it's not challenged by anyone.
Yeah, white flag just comes out. See it on the top of your screen. Winston built a bit of a lead. He's got 6 tenths of a second now, maybe 7 tenths as McFarlane makes a little mistake through Abbey. He's going to have to close up really, really quickly through this slow section, or he's going to have absolutely no chance whatsoever to make a move.
He knows he's got 1 lap left, so I'm sure he's going to be giving it everything.
As well. That could really spice it up a little bit for Winston.
Oh, McFarlane's off track.
Oh, that's it then. He's done. Just using all the track and more. Couldn't. Nothing you can do. So yeah, Winston's going to hold on to this. Lost him 5 seconds there, just getting on the grass. Crazy.
Mistake that proves costly. He could have had 3rd, although we know what the dirty air's like. So he may not have had 3rd, but he certainly had a good shot at it. Yeah, Vedran's just coming around Brooklands now.
Yeah, he drove a good race, you have to say. He didn't make a mistake, and that's what matters in the end. Didn't quite have the pace for Martin, but yeah, fault free in the end. Brings home the victory here at Silverstone.
With quite a hefty gap as well once 2nd place crosses the line.
Yeah, 37 seconds it was the last time they crossed the line. Williams only going through Abbey right now, so yeah, dominant in the end. So
watching Gwilym come through Brooklands now. Got about a second over Wensing after that overtake, and they're coming in a very, very solid and respectful position of 2nd. So I'm sure he's going to be chuffed to nuts with that.
yeah, be delighted with that. Like you say, newcomer to the series. Yeah, as a little weave, delighted with that. Why wouldn't you be as well? 2nd place in what is technically the feature race of the series of the week. So, you know, good job to him, and Wensing in 3rd place. Had he spin without that, he'd have had 2nd. McFarlane in 3rd. Got caught up behind Wensing in that first stint, and that's the trouble when you run a 2-stop and you've got a 1-stopper ahead of you. You've got to be able to get it past, and just wasn't able to make it down. And that really cost him his race.
Oh, Kleber's just been overtaken by Zoran as in Brooklands. Kleber got cut off almost by Beecham there as they went into Brooklands, and it looks like he's lost out on 5th position.
Take a little look at that back on replay, see exactly how it panned out.
Beecham went wide, then almost turned in on him, and obviously Toffoli slammed on the brakes and the rear got loose. I'm sure he's going to be absolutely furious about that. It looks as though he's chasing him now as well.
Well, we
always good to see.
We won't watch it. Yeah, gutted actually there. So One of those things, isn't it? Last lap, just got to stay cool always, and just expect the worst. What I always say.
Yeah, he almost had it, but unfortunately not his fault. Yeah, lost it. Good race though overall, especially at the start and towards the end, and exciting stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Good job for everybody out there. Congratulations to the Ved Run there for taking the victory. We'll get these points added as quickly as we can. We've got a couple more broadcasts. Don't forget to tune into those. If you're into your F1 and you want to watch some more F1 racing, it's the British Sim Racers Grand Prix race tonight. Also at Silverstone, full length, 60 laps. It's going to be a long one. Smooley and doing the cameras with Adam Bath, perhaps Matt Dalton as well in the comms for that one. Or if you fancy some IndyCar action at Monza, tune into yours truly doing that one at same time, about 8 o'clock UK time. So that's an hour and 20 minutes time. Thanks, Cam. Appreciate the help jumping in on this one right at the last minute. Grabbed you up. Yeah, did a good job. It was a good race for the most part. Like I say, I think we just want to see some closer battles. But Silverstone, always a little bit of a snooze fest on these 100%ers.
Yeah, what can you do about Silverstone? Where is next week? I can't remember.
Good question. I did bring it up, didn't I? Road America. Oh, that should be good.
That's always a good track. Provides some great racing on there.
Lots of overtaking. We'll definitely see what the changeable weather might be like there. Can you imagine that in the straights and going into some of those hefty braking zones?
The carousel.
Yeah,
that springs to mind.
Oh, carousel and Canada corner as well. Get that wrong. Whew.
Yeah, you've gone into the wall.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Don't forget to hit the like button, all that goodness. Share us on social media. Helps us a lot. We will, as well as actually someone's mentioned as well. You're happy 4th of July for all the Americans as well. Hope you have a good rest of the day. We will we'll see you in an hour and 20 minutes for those that tune into those. But failing that, at Road America next week.